Hi everybody, welcome to Barre with Mary. Oh, yet again I've had a sound issue, so we are going voiceover today. So for today's class, we have a full body bar class. It's 45 minutes and we'll be working your core, arms, glutes, hamstrings, thighs, the whole kit and caboodle. All you need is a small ball for this class. So I am just using like a cheapo Amazon ball for this. If you have anything like that at home, that's perfect. Or you can always grab a beach towel and roll it up burrito style and use that. It's not going to be perfect, but we'll definitely fill in for what you need it to fill in for. So when you're ready, grab your prop and join me at the top of your mat. We're going to come into the ball right at the heart of the chest. We're going to squeeze it between our hands. Inhale, lift the heart. And then as you exhale, hinge your torso forward. And then inhale, drive through the heels, stand all the way back up. Keep going just like that. So this little good morning stretch here. You're not changing anything in the shape of your spine. You're just breaking at the hips, hinging forward and lifting the heart back up. Notice how when you do that, your weight shifts back into your heels and you maintain a length and alignment through the whole spine. Now this time as you hinge forward, I want you to hold it. Squeeze the ball between the hands. Shift your weight back into the heels. Feel your hips reach back and down as you bend the knees and come into your squat. Just start to squeeze the ball between your hands. Go squeeze and squeeze. Now as you squeeze the ball, I want you to focus on your deep core engagement. So the sides of the waist wrap in towards center. Your front low ribs knit together, and you feel your rib cage pull back into the back body. Now with every squeeze of the ball, feel your collarbones get a little wider, and your shoulder blades draw down your back, so you're nice and open across the chest. In a moment, we're going to take this to full range. But first, I want you to find how much your heels can really drive down into the mat here as you pull your hip bones back. Now on your next inhale, rise all the way up. Then exhale, squat faster, up and down. Go lift. Now if it doesn't feel good to reach the ball overhead, go ahead and reach it forward, okay? Every time you come down here, think about that hip hinging motion that we did with that good morning stretch just a moment ago, where we took the hips back, the weight shifted into the heels, and nothing changed in the shape of our spine. We just hinged our torso forward. That's the same idea anytime you come into a squat. And then on top of all that, you layer in the bend of the knees. Now this time, hold it low and start to pulse your hips. Little down, little up, little down, little up. Maybe you stay here. Or maybe you add a squeeze in on the ball every time your hips drop. Go squeeze and squeeze and squeeze. Hips are reaching back and down. Continue to feel the low belly pulling in and back to help maintain the length in your low spine. And then see if you can find a little more length through the back of the neck here. You're going to hold it low. Beautiful. Big breath in and big breath out. Now hold the pulse. Really actively squeeze the ball between your hands. Reach your hips back, sink a little bit lower, and feel the energy of the heels press down into the mat. On your next inhale, we're going to rise all the way up, reaching the ball to the sky. Externally rotate the legs, so turn them out. Maybe you walk them a tad wider. And then sink low. You're coming into your malasana, your yogi squat. You can set your ball down anytime if that feels good, of course. And then just rock from side to side here. Let this feel really good. You're opening the hips. Maybe you push your elbows into your inner thighs. The spine stays really long. Take a big inhale and a big exhale. When you feel ready, you're going to bring your hands down to the mat. And you're going to step your legs back behind you, coming into a downward dog position. Grab the ball when you have a moment and bring it up in between your inner thighs here just to set yourself up for your plank series. Feel your inner thighs wrapping in and back, almost like you're trying to push the ball back behind you. And let that feeling widen and open your low back. Take an inhale here and exhale. Walk your hands in about 6 inches. Lift up to your tippy toes and bend your knees to bring yourself down to a bear plank. So your knees are hovering just an inch or two off of the mat here. Hands are under the shoulders. As you inhale, we're going to take our knees down and tap the mat. And then as you exhale, I want you to squeeze the ball and lift your knees to hover. Keep going like that. It's inhale, tap the knees down. And exhale, squeeze the ball, lift to hover. As you tap your knees, I want you to find a little more length through your spine. So the crown of the head is reaching forward. The sitting bones are reaching long behind you. And then every time you lift the knees to hover, you squeeze the ball. So you activate the inner thighs. Notice here if you're gripping in your glutes and you're rounding in your spine. Try to maintain neutral. So the alignment we just set up in your squat. Take a big inhale and a big exhale. Now this time I want you to hold your knees at a hover and start to squeeze the ball between your thighs. Go squeeze and squeeze and squeeze, spreading the fingers wide. Really feel your thumbs squeeze in towards one another here. So you open across the collarbones, that same feeling we just set up when we were squeezing the ball at our chest. The low belly is lifting up. The sides of the waist are hugging in. You're almost there. Keep squeezing the ball. Feel the activation of the inner thighs. And then on your next exhale, lift your hips high, downward dog. Maybe you walk your hands forward a few inches just to give yourself a bit more space here. Enjoy some big deep breaths here in your downward dog, keeping the ball between your inner thighs. On your next inhale, we're going to lift up to our tippy toes. And then I want you to roll through the spine. So you slowly come into your high plank. Tap down onto your forearms. Find that your hands are in line with your elbows here. So you have this nice little 11 shape in your forearms. Really actively feel your heart drawing forward. And then feel your elbow tips pulling back toward your toes. So you're really active through the abdominals. Squeeze the ball. Now right here is a great place to stay. If you want a little bit more oblique work, we're going to take the tiniest hip dip. So just take this tiny little dip of your hips. We're going to take it towards the left and then come back to center, and then tiny little hip dip towards the right. Pick it up, go little left, little right, little left, little right. So it's a tiny twist of the pelvis. Normally in this exercise, your feet would drop from side to side, but today I actually want you to keep your ankles still. So it's a really small twisting motion, getting a little bit more heat happening in the obliques. Of course, as always, you're welcome to take your knees down. Now, last time here, meet me center and hold it. Squeeze the ball. Really feel length through both the crown of the head and the heels. Press down through the forearms. And on your next exhale, try to pop the ball. And then sit back into your child's pose. Big toes together. Knees open wide. You can walk the ball out in front of you and let your forehead melt down into the mat here. Take a big breath in. And as you let it go, really soften your seat down to your heels. Let your forehead melt into the mat. One more time. Breathe in. And as you exhale, slowly walk yourself up to a seated position. Swing your legs around in front of you. You're going to bring your feet either hips distance, bending the knees, or you can glue the legs together. It's really your choice here. Take the ball behind you like a little bunny tail, so it's right at the base of your spine. Sit tall, reaching the arms out in front of you. Inhale. And then as you exhale, it's going to be a half roll back. So I want you to scoop your pubic bone up towards your belly button and roll back halfway so you're really pushing back into the ball. From there, we're just going to take a little reach up an inch and back an inch. Little up, little back. Yes. So unlike what we were just talking about, where we're in a neutral spine for all of our planks and our squats, we're now taking a rounded position in the low spine. So your sacrum is pushing down into the mat. You have this beautiful hollowing shape in the low belly. So your pubic bone is scooping up to your belly button. But from the rib cage up, you're still in that nice long spine. So just like how you would roll down one vertebrae at a time to the mat if you were doing a full roll back, same idea, we just stopped halfway. The ball is there to help support you. So this is a little less hip flexory. That's the goal. Now, if for any reason you don't like the ball, you can always take it out. Really feel how the sides of the waist hug towards one another. Now this time I want you to hold the back, really pressing into the ball. Let your arms open out to a V shape. Float the arms up to the sky. Lower them back down to the V and squeeze them in faster. Go, open and lift and lower and squeeze. You've got it. Open and lift and lower and squeeze. Now, what I want you to find as we add the arms in is that especially when you lift your arms overhead, you're adding some extra weight to this abdominal work. So it should feel more challenging when the arms go up. I almost even get this shaking feeling in my abdominals. That's how much work I'm having to do to maintain the contraction. I kind of like it. I kind of like that feeling. So you're going to meet me in just a moment with your arms in the V shape, and we're going to take this into a march. Make sure that you're using long breaths in and long breaths out here so that we're not shorting ourselves of some oxygen. Take your arms to the V shape. Left leg marches up. Right leg marches up. Yeah, you're welcome to stay at this slower pace, or if you want to pick it up, let's do it. Go left and right. Little march, little march. So you'll notice that I'm adding a little curl in of my heart. Another option, if at any point this feels too hip flexory, is you can always grab back behind your thighs for a little bit more support as well. But if you're up for the challenge, maybe keep your arms long today, reaching them forward in that V shape. You're going to meet me with both feet down on the ground, and we have one more variation in this abdominal series today. It is a doozy, I'm not going to lie to you, but it's a short series, I promise. Now meet me with both feet planted. Flip your palms down to face the floor, and then tense your finger pads down into the mat here. Almost like you're trying to drag the mat back towards you. Feel the energy of the fingers pulling back and start to curl your heart. Go, little curl, little curl. As you take this curl, really feel the belly hollowing out and your heart reaching towards your thighs. It's intense, I know, but it's a really short set. You're almost there. Go for 8 more, 7 more, 6 more. Yeah, you've got it. 4, 3, 2, oh, sit all the way up. Nice work. Take the ball out. Lay back on your back. And the ball is going to come underneath your right foot. Bring your feet hips distance here, and then walk your heels just a few inches out in front of your knees. Let your arms rest to your side. Push your right heel down into the ball. Take an inhale. And on your exhale, you're going to squeeze your glutes, and you're going to lift your seat to this low bridge hover position. On your inhale, go ahead and tap your seat down to the mat. And then exhale, squeeze the seat to lift. A little faster. Go tap and lift. It's down and up. So coming into our seat work series here, I want you to really focus as you lift the glutes on pushing your right heel down into the ball. So you're actively driving the right heel down and feeling how much activation you can feel in the back side of the right leg. So the right side hamstrings and the right glutes. Your left leg is absolutely going to be working here as well, but only because it's stabilizing you. More attention, more focus is going to be into the right side here. Now in just a moment, you're going to hold the lift up. And I want you to focus on keeping the rib cage soft, so we're not flaring open in the ribs. This time up, I want you to hold the lift and start to drive your right heel down into the ball. Go, little push, little push, little push. So right heel is driving into the ball. Your face is soft, your neck is soft, and your shoulders are heavy down into the mat here. So as you push the right heel down into the ball, feel even more activation into your right hamstrings. The hamstrings run up the backside of the leg and they insert right at the base of the seat. So they're really essential for stability of your pelvis and the stability of your knee joints as well. You hold the push down with the right heel and start to draw the right heel in towards the seat. So you roll the ball in 1 inch towards your seat and then roll it away from you just 1 inch. Go in 1 inch and out 1 inch. Keep going like that. But again, bring your focus on pushing your right heel down into the ball. So you make this an even more intentional hamstring curl. You're using your core to stabilize your pelvis so your hips aren't rocking from side to side. And again, absolutely your left side glutes are working here as well. But I'm hoping you're feeling more heat into the back of the right leg. Just a few more here, keeping the upper body soft, keeping the face nice and soft. Now this time, pull the right heel into the seat, hold it there, start to pulse your hips a little up, little up. This is your final variation before things will change. In a moment, you're gonna bring your seat down to the mat and you're gonna roll onto your left side so that you're facing me. We're gonna grab the ball into our top right hand and we'll come into a side lying series. Now with every lift up of your hips, I want you to focus on driving your right heel down into the ball with even more force. See if you can find a little bit more space across your collarbones. Now hold the lift of the seat. Maybe you reach your arms up to the sky. Here's your hold. Drive down to the right heel. Pull the ball in towards your seat 1 more inch and maybe lift the seat higher. 4, 3, 2. Yes. Lower the seat down. Roll onto your left side, grabbing the ball. Now you can cradle your head in your hands here if that feels good for you. Or if you would prefer to prop yourself up onto your hand, you're welcome to do that as well. Grab the ball and bring it back behind your right knee crease. Let the right knee come up to a tabletop position. Not to a tabletop, to in line with your hip. That's very different than tabletop. Squeeze the ball. And then from here, start to pull the knee into the chest. And then scoot back, so knee is in line with the hip. 2 counts inhale, you pull it in. 2 counts exhale, you press it back. Now your top right hand can go wherever you'd like. I like to kind of tent my fingertips in front of me just for a little bit of balance support here. I want to challenge you to keep your right leg parallel. So the knee and the ankle are staying in line with each other the whole time. We're not allowing one to lift higher than the other. Feel your right thigh bone just sliding forward and sliding back here. Nothing else is changing shape in your body. Continue to squeeze the ball back behind your knee. And yes, I know it's a lot of hamstrings. It's a very hamstring heavy class today. This time I want you to hold your right thigh back and start to squeeze the ball. Go, squeeze and squeeze. So right knee is in line with your right hip. You're nice and open across the front of the right hip. And then really feel as much length as possible through the whole right thigh. The right knee is really reaching away from you here. As you squeeze the ball, not only are you going to feel your hamstrings fire, but I want you to lift your right thigh bone up to the sky and start to really feel the outer right glute fire as well. Little circles now with the right thigh bone. Go little circle, little circle. Doesn't matter which direction you go, we're going to switch directions. So this circle is really small. It's like the size of a quarter even, really tiny. Just feeling the right thigh bone make a little rotation in the socket. Beautiful work. Continuing to squeeze the ball. And continue to stay in parallel right here, just like this. Changing directions in 4, 3, 2, change direction, circle the other way. So anytime you take this circular motion, it can be really tempting to rock and roll in the hips, so rock your top hip forward and back. Just let this movement be the thigh bone moving in the hip socket. That's it. Nothing else is moving. You have one more variation, and then we have a hold for our seat work. You're almost there. Meet me with your right leg still. Squeeze the ball, press the right thigh bone back and start to pulse your right leg up 1 inch. Go little up, little up, little up, little up. Yes. Now really feel how we're not just working the hamstring here, but we're working really deeply into the outer hip and all the way down the outside of the right thigh as well. Think about pushing your right thigh bone back here and then continue to squeeze the ball. I know your hamstrings are cooked. You're almost there, I promise. Soften the shoulders, soften the face. You just have a hold to finish this right side seat. Yes. Now find stillness. Squeeze the ball, push your right thigh back and lift it up even 1 more inch. Hold right here for 4, 3, 2, stack your knees, take the ball out. Bring your right hand to the mat, right in front of your chest. Push some weight into your hand. And then take your bottom left arm, wrap it across you, and grab a hold of your right shoulder. Yeah, just like that. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, you're going to push yourself all the way up. And then you're going to lower yourself all the way back down. Keep going. Tricep push-ups. Now, it might feel good to stay stacked in your knees, or it might feel more comfortable to extend your right leg out straight and plant the right foot into the floor. That's what I'm going to do. That feels better for me. This is really intense single tricep work. So if you find that maybe you can't go all the way back down to the mat, that's okay. In just a moment, we're going to take this to small range. So you're going to meet me halfway. There you go. Just start to pulse 1 inch. You've got it. Little down, little up, little down, little up. Push your right palm down into your mat. Stay strong in your abdominals. You have no holds. We're taking this into a child's pose. You're almost there. You've got it. 4, 3, 2. Child's pose. Big toes together, knees wide, and let yourself melt into the stretch. You're welcome to stay right here in this position, or it might feel good to walk your hands over to the left side of your mat and then press into the right hip so you get a little bit more length for the outside of your right glute into the right side obliques. Take a big inhale and a big exhale. Walk your hands back to center. Walk yourself up to seated. Swing your legs around in front of you. Grab your ball. We're going to take that whole series on the other side. So you're going to lay back on your back. The ball comes underneath your left foot now. Push your left heel down into the ball. Relax your arms down at your side. Take a big inhale. And as you exhale, squeeze the glutes, drive into the ball, lift your seat low, hover. And then inhale, tap your seat back to the mat, maybe a little faster. Lift and lower, goes up and down. So you're lifting to your low bridge and tapping your seat back down to the mat. So again, we are absolutely going to be working both glutes, but a little bit more attention into the left side is my goal here. So every time you lift your hips, I want you to drive your left heel into the ball, almost like you're trying to flatten it down to the ground. As you lift your seat, double check that you're not flaring into the rib cage, so you're not letting your ribs open. The back of the ribs stay soft and heavy down towards the mat. The shoulders are soft. The neck and face are soft. You're going to hold that low bridge position. We're going to transition into that pulsing motion, pushing the heel down into the ball in just a moment here. Now this time I want you to lift your seat, hold it, and start to drive your foot down into the ball. Left heel drives down and down and down. So as you push your left heel down into the ball, really feel the backside of the left leg fired up here. Absolutely, right side is working too. And the abdominals are working to stabilize the pelvis. So we're not rocking the hips or letting them drop down or arch the low back. We're staying strong and stable through the entire spine. With every push down of your left heel, feel the left glutes, the left hamstring fire up a little more. Now hold the push down with the left heel and roll the ball in 1 inch to your seat and out 1 inch away from you. Pull it in 1 inch and ball rolls out 1 inch. Again, just like on the first side, I want you to actively drive down through your left heel so you make this much more active of a hamstring curl. Right side, especially since you already worked it, is probably getting a little fatigued just holding you here. That's okay. That means you worked hard. That means you did exactly what you were supposed to do on the first side. See if as you tire, you start to get a little tense in the face and shoulders. Try to stay soft. You're going to meet me with your left heel rolling in towards your seat in just a moment. Ribs are heavy. Let your arms relax. Let your fingers relax. Now pull your left heel in 1 inch toward your seat. Start to pulse your hips little up, little up, little up, little up. Now with every pulse up of your hips, I want you to drive your left heel down into the ball. So you're really pushing the energy of the left heel down as you squeeze the seat and lift it up. This is your final variation in this bridge series. We have a hold. And then you're going to roll to face me so you come onto your right side. And we'll take that side lying series. Take a big breath in and let it go. Now find stillness. Drive down through your left heel. Roll the ball in 1 inch closer. And even though I forgot to do it, maybe you reach your arms up to the sky here. Hold here 4, 3, 2, drop your seat, grab the ball and roll onto your right side. You're facing me. Again, you can cradle your head, or if you prefer to prop yourself up on your hand, feel free to do that. Stack your knees, lift your left leg up to hip height, and place ball back behind the knee crease. You can tent the fingertips, and then as you inhale, you start to pull the knee to the chest, and as you exhale, you press it all the way back behind you. 2 counts, you pull it in, and 2 counts, you press it back. So again, we're maintaining parallel in the left leg, so the left knee and the left ankle stay in line with one another. Lots of hamstring work, keeping the ball squeezing back behind the knee the entire time. And then as you press the left leg back, you really feel the left hip open, the top of the left seat engages, and you get into the base of the left glutes. Keep the shoulders soft and continue to lift up to the bottom side waist. Now hold the back and start to squeeze the ball. Go in and in and in and in. So knee is in line with your hip, and you're actively pushing your thigh bone back here, opening up to the front of the left hip. Notice here if you start to roll your top hip up to the sky, and really try to stay stacked in this position. In a moment, you're going to hold the squeeze on the ball, and we're going to start to trace those little circles. Here we go. Hold the squeeze and trace. Go little circle, little circle. So it's a tiny circle. Nothing else in the body is moving except for the left thigh bone, just taking this small little rotation in the hip socket. As you take this little circle, see if you can focus more on pressing the thigh bone back rather than bringing the knee forward, so that we're really working into the base of the seat, into the top of the hip. You're going to change directions in 4, 3, 2, change directions other way. Little circle, little circle. You have one more variation and a final hold, then you are done with seat work for the day. Maybe with that information, you squeeze the ball a little tighter back behind your knee. We're going to find stillness in the left leg, and we're going to start to pulse it up in 4, 3, 2. Find stillness in your left leg. Squeeze the ball. Start to pulse your left thigh up and up and up. Really feel your left thigh bone pressing back behind you here. Squeeze the ball with everything you have, and then lift it even higher. So you're feeling the outer left hip, the outer left thigh working so deeply here. Shoulders stacked, hips stacked. You have a hold to finish your seat work. That's on deck. You're almost there. I want you to try to pop the ball back behind your knee, okay? Right here, find stillness. Squeeze in on the ball. Lift the left thigh higher. Press it back behind you even deeper. 4, 3, 2. Stack the knees, grab the ball, set the ball out of your way. Take your top left hand, stack it in front of your chest. Right hand can either stay where it is, or I like to wrap it across me and grab my left shoulder here. Inhale. And as you exhale, you're going to press yourself all the way up, and then lower yourself all the way back down. Full range. It's up and down. Now you can stay with your knees stacked, or you can take your top left leg and stretch it out long. It's really whatever feels more comfortable for you. So you know the full range isn't super long. You're going to meet me halfway. We'll take small range to finish. Stay nice and long through the sides of the waist, and really feel how deeply you're working the left side tricep. Now this time stop halfway. Start to pulse. Little down, little up, little down, little up. Keep the sides of the neck long. You're coming to a child's pose. You don't have a hold, so just breathe. You're almost there. Go 4, 3, 2, and 1. Flip yourself over. Child's pose. Big toes together. Knees wide. Let your forehead melt down into the mat. Of course, you can stay here. Or if you did so on the first side, go ahead and walk your hands over to the right. Forgot what side we were doing. And press out with your left hip. So you get a little bit more length through the left side of the body, through the outer left glute. Big inhale. Big exhale. Walk your hands back to center when you're ready. And we're going to walk ourselves all the way up to seated. Now from here, if you have sensitive knees, or if you just want a little bit more cushion, go ahead and roll your mat up like I'm doing. So fold the mat over a couple times, and then come forward to kneel right on that cushion that you made, grabbing your ball. Rise up. We're going to take the ball back behind our back, but in order to give ourselves a little bit more space, go and hinge your torso forward here. So find neutral just like you did in your squat. Grab the ball between both hands. Really open up the chest here, drawing the shoulder blades down the back, and getting your arms as straight as you can. It's really tempting to roll forward in the shoulders, so stay open and then start to lift the arms up and up and up. So if you have really tightness, if you have tightness in your chest or in your shoulders, this might be uncomfortable for you, so feel free to ditch the ball. You're also welcome to grab light weights if you'd prefer to do this series with light weights. But if the ball feels okay for you, try it. It's something a little different, right? The arms are as straight as you can get them, and this whole series is focused on strengthening the triceps, the muscles that line the backside of the upper arm. Continue to feel the shoulder blades drawing down the back, and feel your heart lifting up here. We're going to keep the lift in the arms, and we're going to take a little bend in the elbows. Then go ahead and stretch the arms straight. Faster, go bend, reach, bend, reach. So nothing like a tricep kickback. It's really just a softening of the elbows, right? So it's a little soft and stretch, soften and stretch. Every time you reach the arms straight, I want you to really feel your triceps squeeze. Continue to feel the shoulder blades drawing down the back, and then really active in the abdominals here so we can stay in that beautiful neutral position. Now keep the arms straight and start to squeeze in on the ball. Go squeeze and squeeze and squeeze. So it might be a really small movement. You might have a lot more mobility in your shoulders than I do, so you might be flattening the ball between your hands. That's amazing. I have super tight shoulders, so this is incredibly challenging. I'm feeling this really deeply in my triceps. You're going to hold the squeeze in on the ball. Go 4, 3, 2, hold that squeeze in, and then rise up, reach the ball out in front of you. Hands together, bend the elbows here, almost like you're hugging a tree. Now from here, I just want you to start to squeeze in on the ball with your palms. Go in and in and in. So shoulders are stacked over your hips, and hips are stacked over your knees. As you squeeze in on the ball, really feel your pectoral muscles, your chest muscles fire. Draw your shoulders down your back, and then notice this alignment, okay? Because we're going to maintain this alignment as we transition into some thigh work. So just like earlier when we hinged at the hinged at the hips to find our squat, now we're going to hinge at the knees, and we're going to take it in the opposite direction. We're going to lean it back. Not quite yet. I'm just prepping you for what's coming. It is coming for you though. So just like in a squat, you're going to keep the abdominals really strong. And you're going to stay in one long line. Nothing is going to change in the shape of your spine. So now I want you to hold the squeeze in on the ball. Really feel how you can fire up the biceps. And then one long line here. Inhale. And as you exhale, hinge back. Inhale, rise all the way up, and exhale, hinge it back. Keep going like that. So as you hinge back, you're absolutely going to have to engage in your glutes, but I want this to be predominantly a thigh work exercise. So really feel your inner thighs squeeze in towards one another. If this is incredibly uncomfortable on your knees, focus on that squeeze in of the inner thighs. If it's still uncomfortable, play with walking your knees wider. And if it's still uncomfortable, tuck your toes underneath you. That's going to make it a lot easier, but it's also going to lighten the load on your knee joints. Every time you hinge back, I want you to really squeeze the ball. And feel your pubic bone drawing up toward your bottom ribs. Now this time I want you to hinge back, hold it, and start to pulse your arms, little up, little down, little up, little down. Squeeze the ball between your hands. Continue to find that softness in your elbows so your arms are rounded. And really lean back here. Let this be fatiguing for your thighs. That's the idea. Soften your shoulders. Soften your face. I know this one is challenging, but don't show it in your face, okay? We're going to hold the arms still. We're going to take one final variation in just a moment here. So take your long inhales and your long exhales. Really find that endurance breath. Now find stillness in the arms and hinge yourself back 1 inch and up 1 inch. Yeah, you've got it. Back 1 inch holds and up 1 inch holds. So really small range of motion here. Don't let yourself come up so high that you no longer feel it in your thighs. Don't let this be full range, which I notice as I'm watching this back, I am practically full range here. Now take it back, hold it. You've got it. Squeeze the ball. Come back to your farthest point. Breathe here. 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to come to a downward dog. I'm just going to unroll my mat so I have a little bit of cushion for my hands. Tuck the toes, lift the hips high. And take any variation that feels good for you here. Shake the hips, bend the knees, maybe a little side to side motion with the head, with the shoulders. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. When you're ready, walk your hands back to your feet, bend your knees, push down through your heels, and slowly roll yourself up. Then find a wall. So any wall will do. Take a hand to it for a little bit of stability and find narrow V with your feet so the heels come together and the toes are a few inches apart. Lift the heels slightly, squeeze them together, and then bend the knees, making this diamond shape with your legs. So the knees stack over the second and third toe. From here, we're going to come down 2 counts and up just halfway. Keep going like that, down for 2. And up just halfway. So realistically, you don't need a wall right now. So if you would prefer to take both hands to your hips, feel free to. But for your final set of thigh work, you absolutely do need a wall. So I just set you up there for now. You might also find that taking a hand to the wall allows you a bigger range of motion in this thigh series because you're not as focused on your balance. So something to play with. Now this time, come up just halfway and hold it. Squeeze your heels and start to drop your hips little down, little down, little down. So anytime you're in this narrow V position, you want to really focus on the stability of your knees. And the best way to do that is by really actively squeezing your heels together and pushing your thighs out. So your inner thighs press open as your heels squeeze in. That's going to stabilize your knee joints over your second and third toe and keep them from wobbling in and out, just keeping yourself a little safer. Now remember here, your hips are over your heels, your shoulders are over your hips, and your ears are over your shoulders. It's going to be so tempting to lean forward, but trust me, it makes it way too easy. You're barely working the thighs if you do that. So try to keep your heart lifted. It's not the longest series. You only have one more variation. Stay low in the hips. Start to press your thighs out. Go little out, little out, little out. So again, you're really actively squeezing the heels together. And then we're just butterflying the thigh bones. Away, away, away. Yes. So this is your only thigh work today that's turned out. Really feel how much you can work the inner and outer thighs as you actively squeeze the heels together. You have a final hold coming up. I want you to hold the press out on the thighs. Now squeeze the heels and then sink to your lowest position here. Let this be really tiring. Lift your heart, take a big breath in. Exhale, lower. And then rise all the way up. Turn your back to the wall. And then slide yourself down into a wall sit position. So you walk your feet forward so they stack underneath your knees. Lean your shoulders back into the wall so you really find neutral in your spine here. And then maybe slide your hips just 1 inch lower so they come in line with your knees. Now from here, you can bring your hands to your heart and one heel is going to lift at a time. It's a little lift and lower, little lift and lower. You are welcome to stay at the slow pace or pick it up. Go left and right. Go left and right. This is your final exercise for class. You are so close. As you lift the heels, squeeze your ankle bones in towards each other. Relax your face. Notice if you're caving in, rounding your shoulders. Keep the collarbones nice and wide. You can do this. You are almost there. I know your thighs are on fire, but on the other side of this is your final stretch of class. Your final hold for class is on deck. You will have the option to either plant the heels, or maybe for this final hold, you want to lift your heels to a low hover. That's your choice. Wherever you are, maybe close your eyes. Take a big breath in. And on your exhale, could you sink your hips 1 more inch? Maybe you reach the arms out in front of you, feeling the arm bones soften back into the socket. Yes, this is challenging, but you can do challenging things. You are almost there. Your final stretch in 4, 3, 2, One, rise up. You made it. Amazing job. Shake out your legs. Holy moly, that was really challenging. And take a hand to the wall for a quadricep stretch. So I started on my right leg. You do not have to. Catch the right foot with the right hand. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Draw the pubic bone up to the belly button and then slide the right thigh bone back, really opening up through the right quadricep here. That was super challenging. Amazing work, everybody. Take a big breath in and let it go. One more time, breathe in. Exhale. Carefully release your foot, figure 4 stretch. Right ankle crosses over left thigh. Take the hips back. Bend gently into the standing left knee. And then feel your right thigh bone really pressing down towards the floor here, opening up through the outer right hip, the outer right glute. If you prefer a different stretch, you can take that as well. Take a big inhale and let it go. Release your stretch. And we'll take that whole series on the other side. Left foot comes into the left hand. Slide your left thigh bone back. Draw your pubic bone up towards your belly button and then really feel the openness across the left quadricep here. Take a big breath in and let it out. One more time, breathe in. And then gently release the left foot, figure 4, left ankle crosses over right thigh. Hips go back. I encourage you to flex through your left foot here just to help protect the left knee joint. And then really feel the left inner thigh pressing open down towards the mat here. Pull your right hip bone back. If you want to find balance, you can. One more big breath in. And out. Release the stretch. Find your wall one more time. Take your hands wide. Walk your feet back, chest stretch, letting your heart dive down towards the floor here. Softly bend both knees just so you're not locking out. Feel your heart reaching down towards the floor, your shoulder blades draw down your back, and just really open up across the whole front line of the body here. Big inhale. Big exhale. One more time, breathe in. Let it go. Walk yourself up to standing. Spin to face me. Inhale, sweep your arms high. Exhale, let it go. And that is your class. Amazing work. That was a hard class. I am so impressed by each and every one of you. I'm impressed by myself too. That was really hard. As always, I hope you'll subscribe. I hope you'll like, share this with friends, and I'll be back here next week. See you then.